Hey, and welcome back to the continuing series of the Laws of Minecraft with me, Lawfromchaos. Anyway, we're back at this lovely house under construction. As you can see, I have taken the filler and done quite a bit of work with it. Essentially just expanding upon all the principles I showed you already in the previous videos. I used the filler to create the floor and all the walls. Now, obviously, it looks very bland at the moment. It's just essentially a large open box. But essentially, this is the design that we're starting with. And we're going to make a lot of different things with it. And so, actually, we're going to be putting all our machines, everything else underneath here. And then, right now, for the moment, we got magic wooden planks as the floor, and then marble for the walls. I actually had to run a very large Quarry Plus to get all this material. So if any of you guys want a tutorial on how to run one of those, I'd be more than happy to do that as well. But today I wanted to talk about things a little bit more general than what I've been doing. I mean, we've been talking about specific uses like the filler, everything else. Today I want to talk about principles of design and what the point is. One of the things I've talked about already is reducing lag, and that's actually one of the reasons I'm building like this, because you can build a building, a skyscraper for example, that was all one chunk. That is certainly a possibility. But if it's all just one chunk, then all of the lag, all of the ticks, everything gets used all in that one chunk, and it tends to get very, very laggy. And that is actually the problem with my house over here. I'm actually got my actual house over this way, my current home. You can see as it's loading up. And so these three central chunks here, let me just show you. There's essentially three chunks that are the center piece. And so it gets up 9, but actually most of this stuff will probably end up in a few of these chunks. So if I go down to my machine room, which is a couple floors down, take the elevator down, you can see that I've got a lot of machines crammed in to these just 9 chunks. You can see like this chunk will have a ton of stuff in it, and then this chunk has a bunch of stuff in it. And so it actually ends up being laggy for that particular reason, and it's actually even more than just this. If you go down, not that elevator, central elevator, if you take the central elevator down, you can obviously see I've got my sculpture here. But if you take that down, I had golems and stuff running for an automatic farming system, and then I also have my auto spawning system. And as you can see, we've got the central chunk here. A lot of machines still end up in that 9 chunk, even part of this central machine here. See, as a matter of fact, the majority of this one, including, I believe, the spawner. And so it acts up. And so a lot of times, people build very concentrated builds, and there's nothing wrong with that if you can handle it, or the server can handle it. Because it's not just your machine, it's the server also. It's two things. You have to have the machines that you have at your house, as well as what the server can actually handle. You can obviously see that I've got some stuff outside of those chunks too. This is rather nice. But a big chunk of this is actually probably inside those chunks too. Or at least a portion of it was. Okay, so I've got most of my heavy machinery turned off. So that is the principle of efficiency in design. You want to be efficient. You want to make it so that your design allows you to expand easily without being laggy or causing you any problems. Because, I mean, this place hasn't really caused me any problems. The server can handle it as far as I can tell. And it usually doesn't lag my computer up. However, that is not always true of people who visit my base. And if you're a builder and you want to show other people what you're doing, then you want to be able to have other people come to your base without lagging out for 5 minutes as their computer loads everything up first. So that's the problem. The second one is, what is the primary use of the design? One of the things that happened to me when I was building this is, I love this building, I think it's gorgeous, but the central floor, which is where I should have been building and should have allowed me to spread everything out, became consumed in a particular project of mine. I built a set of 4 interlocking spirals. And you know what? I think it looks cool and awesome. and it's a great piece of art, but yeah, you can actually see what the actual boundaries of the circles are up here. And I kind of do it an elemental theme, and that's fine. I love elemental themes. I tend to use that one more than just about anything else. Minecraft lends itself to that well, because you got the nether, you got the end, you got all sorts of stuff. But the principle I'm saying is, I like my pieces to be art, but you should first design a building for functionality, and then say, how am I going to make this beautiful? Or, and I have done this, let me go ahead and briefly show you another piece of art that I've done. You can design things that are art and nothing else. For example, this entire area used to be mountain biome. I actually used silverwood trees to transform it into something else because I wanted to look a little different. Let me turn my chunks off again here. Cycle through that one too many times. Okay, so this is a church that I built. It is entirely an art piece, and eventually I'll probably get pews and a lectern up here or something. And that's got like a crystal thing in here. See, it's like it's supposed to be a fire crystal. Don't know how well that comes across, but hey, whatever. But yeah, this piece was entirely art, and I was actually going to build a whole entire town centered on this particular area, complete with underground caverns and areas that I had dug out, as you can see, sculpted. I was eventually going to do a much better bridge than this, and all of those kind of things. But I actually turned this over to somebody else who was much more interested in it. I said, sure, they can go ahead and they'll work on it. And we'll see if they actually do. But the point I wanted to make was, it's fun to make art pieces. I love art pieces. I make pieces that are nothing but art all the time. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if they're still there, but when on my first server that I became one of the admins, my role was actually as builder, and all I did was use World Edit to make massive pieces of art, because I'd already actually made tons of art on this server without it, and just in pure survival. And so they're like, we might as well give this person tools to do better stuff, and that was a lot of fun. The second one is a theme. This one had an elemental theme. I went with, frostbound and snow bricks, and then, mossy, and, though these aren't actually labeled mossy, they're, forceful edge blocks. If anybody wants me to talk about how to use those, I will. I will probably be using them, actually, not probably, I will be using them over in my other build over here. I know a few places, because I'll be using them to conceal my machines from casual use, because this building, like most of my buildings, will be open. People can walk in and out. I don't mind, but I'll be using them to conceal and protect where all of my machines are, so that people can't get to them easily without my particular permission. Now, there's about a billion ways to still get around that, because it is, modded Minecraft, and that's fine. I don't really care. It's just a general precaution rather than a exhaustive one. Next, I just want to talk about, you want to be consistent. As you can see, I've got my sandstone. I'm in the middle of a desert. That is my primary building material, is starting with the desert stones. So I'm using the native stuff, and then I'm also accentuating it, because this is a giant tall tower. I decided, you know what, I should use tower wood, which I did, and I actually built this roof out of it, and I actually think this roof is amazing, but the problem is it takes 2-3 hours just to make one of these. And I didn't think it was worth it. It's one of those things, you're like, not sure if it's worth it. But yes, so those are a couple of the principles of design. The next one I want to talk about is, don't be afraid to think big. If you're going to get into building with Minecraft, especially modded Minecraft, there are a ton of tools that let you build huge things. As you can see, I used the filler for this, and I used the quarry for materials, the quarry plus, as a matter of fact, which is an awesome machine, and I'll show you that guys later if you guys want me to. So don't be afraid to dream really, really large. As you can see, I don't think small. The next thing after that is once you've gotten a basic idea for a functional design, as you can see, essentially this is a giant box. That's a very, very functional design, but it's not very aesthetically pleasing. So at that point, you want to take it and go and say, okay, I have my design. How am I going to turn this into something that is going to be amazing? And so I actually thought of this box afterwards, and then I thought, you know what? I think I want a cathedral theme. And so what actually I'm going to be doing is I'm going to have massive arches that are going to be cut out and let into probably stained glass windows, probably flying buttresses on the side or maybe on the roof section. There's a couple of cathedral designs I've seen in real life with flying buttresses on the roof that are astonishingly beautiful. Probably have a roofed section up here, not roofed, but I'll probably have arches up here, see, and then it'll have a second floor up here, the vestry or whatever it's called in an actual cathedral, and then a tiered roof upwards here, leading up into this section here, which obviously isn't here yet, but there'll be a central portion that's raised, and which will be like probably not. It'll be raised through all of it, but it'll also have areas that are even more so, like it'll be central spires. Probably 3 or 4 of those would be my guess at this point. This is an even number of chunks, so it will probably end up being an even number. Probably 4, I think, because I don't want to overdo it, but I don't want to underdo it either. Because if I did it every other chunk, it'd probably be a bit much. And then inside, because I have the room, I'm going to depart from what a normal cathedral would do. I mean, I'm going to have the archways on each side, which is standard. But obviously, I'm not going to have pews in the middle like an actual cathedral would. It's not meant to be that way. It's meant to be functional. So each section, it'll probably be by every chunk or 2 will be sectioned off on the sides here and have their own space. And I'll dedicate one to each mod or process that I'm working on. So I'm going to have like a Thaumcraft room and so on. Thaumcraft section. And then the middle here is mostly going to be aesthetics. Because why not? I'm going to have the room. It's going to include at least 2 indoor gardens, which I'm probably going to put my bees underneath. The bee machines directly underneath those, so that when they're there, it'll be like the bees are flying through the garden. Yeah, big like giant flower gardens, that kind of thing. I'll probably bury a lot more underground than just this underground chamber, because there are some things that you just need more room for, or you need a really large amount of completely symmetrical space for like a Thaumcraft infuser, for example. And I'll get into that design of how to design one of those properly, if anybody wants me to, or just when I'm getting around to building it. And also probably just build an underground farm. But what I'm trying to do essentially is spread all this out while making it aesthetically beautiful. And each of these sections here, each of these, let me show you. See, you can they section off so nicely. Each of these will probably be dedicated, like I said, but the walls will not remain like this. I'm going to have to clear a lot of space away from the walls, which is already planned. But they'll probably end up being stained glass mosaics designed to be form patterns. I'm not sure exactly whether it's going to reflect the current mod I'm working on. For example, like a Thaumcraft, I can have like a wand or something like that. Or if it's going to be an elemental theme again. I like my elemental themes, because it could be like a wave and a thing of fire, and doing it as stained glass would be kind of cool. Let me take this off. Okay. So yeah, I am going to have to remove a lot away from these, but I'm actually only going to lower it down, for aesthetic purposes, down to the foundation. This is the foundation right here. And so it's going to be ground from here on out, and I'll probably make it into grass. I might have some fountains, some other stuff. Not entirely certain yet, but I'm probably going to clear it away to the foundation level, at least 4 blocks away. And then probably do some kind of tiered thing. Though I do have to watch out a little bit because somebody else's home is up here. And, well, I have a decent amount of room until I run into their house. But, yeah, they haven't been on for weeks, so I don't know if they're still playing or not. But this area will probably clear away more extensively, because nobody else is building here as far as I know. And so we'll just destroy tons of this, clear it away to the foundation level, leave it like that on the sides there, but probably reduce it to like grass and fountains, and maybe a hedge. Maybe I'll make a hedge garden. I don't know. Hedge maze. So that is the basics of design for what I'm building here, and also just general guidelines for what you can do yourself. Don't be afraid to go look things up. I do that all the time. When I am designing, go look at actual real-world pictures and try to figure out how to make it work in Minecraft. Because you know what? You might as well try. Don't be afraid to dream big. Build huge things. Take on massive projects. This build, I will probably get all the functional stuff done first. So I'll be building a roof, some basics, and essentially it'll be standard shelter, large but standard shelter, before anything else happens. And so it will be possible to use it completely functional, and I can actually just add to the artistic part of the design over time. So don't be afraid to make massive builds because you're like, well, I don't have time to build it, I don't have time to do this. That's okay. Nobody has time to build a giant build all at once. Nobody does that because you can't, because these things will take a long time, and that's okay. But what everybody can do is start with the basics. They can build a frame, they can build the outside, and then they can add to it little bit by little bit until they're satisfied. And that's exactly what we're going to do. And the second one is look at pixel art. Pixel art is amazing. Pixel art translates into things I'll probably be using for my stained glass. I mean, I'll have to adapt them and modify them, and I'll probably make a bunch of them up on my own. I do that all the time. But don't be afraid to do that. It's a great thing. Alright, this is Lawfromchaos signing off, and you guys all have a great day.